Hi guys, welcome back to the Writing Craft Podcast. I'm your host Jenna.
And I'm your host Holly.
And today we're talking about everything publishing in 2025, including the fact that both of us are debuting with some cool fantasy novels that we want to tell you guys about, and kind of talk about how a lot of the things publishing related, political, social media, and everything is changing this year, and how we're going to try and navigate that so that hopefully that we can kind of help each other out and help you out when it comes to publishing in our rapidly changing world right now in 2025.
Yeah, it seems the world has been kind of flipped upside down recently. Platforms are dying, platforms are being born, and if you are in marketing like we are and have sort of straight systems of how we plan things, the way we plan things is going to be very different, I think, moving forward. And it's very much a game of trying to adjust and move right along with things.
Yeah, well, especially because I feel like we are both very like type A organized, and so when we set something in stone in like our journals or Excel sheets, it's like, okay, we're sticking to this, right? Holly's gonna show her little journal too. But when it comes to everything being crazy with things like TikTok, and TikTok being a huge way that we've been able to find new authors for ourselves or communicate with authors in, a networking friendship sort of way, and being able to advertise our books there, and that being such a big part, at least for me, of my marketing plan, and not knowing whether or not it's going to survive or not, or if the extension that our orange turd president over here extended in my country it's only about for 75 days, so I don't 100% know whether or not it's going to stick around, and now we have to just be very flexible, which for some of us who are very big planners, set in stone type A's, it's very hard to maneuver that afterwards.
Quick little mention of things that have already thrown me off my axis is when they changed the ratio size for Instagram images. Right out the gate.
Don't even. My goodness.
I had just decided this year that I was going to try out that, merging your different posts together so that, posting in a grid style, so that I would have like 9 posts that all like blended into one another. And that was the first time I started doing this. I plotted it out like in a design program ahead of time. I had them like, this looks really cool. This one looks really cool. And then right away, bam, it changed, which I think is because of what's going on with TikTok, right? Because now Instagram is rushing and, competing, and Meta's going to try to be the replacement TikTok, not surprisingly, and obliterate the way our feeds look in the meantime and our schedules.
Yeah, well, it was funny because I knew that this was coming for a while now, because for my second job, I do social media for a pet store. And so on theirs, they were basically in the beta program. I did not sign them up for it, but I guess
it usually, when that stuff happens, it's usually automatic.
Yeah, so they automatically updated their feed like months ago. And so I had to just like work in accordance and like change some of my posts and stuff. And thankfully I was already working with larger posts on theirs, because Pet Store has a lot of information about their events on the side, so I wanted to get as big of a shape of the rectangle as possible, and so I was already working within that, and there was a couple posts of mine that did get messed up from that, but for the most part, like, I integrated that really easily. But for my profile for Instagram that has been up for so long, most of my posts now just don't look right, and I'm like, fuck. But I knew it was coming, and I just didn't like pivot fast enough, because again, type A. And then, we bear the brunt of it because they had that in beta for so long, didn't warn anyone about it. And the reason that they just fully pushed it out to everybody was, again, because of TikTok, even though they could have just told us ahead of time that they were going to do that in accordance with the same time as when TikTok was going down. But then they were like, no, we're just not going to tell anybody about anything that we're doing, even though we've had this in beta for literally like 6 months.
Yeah, I feel like there was plenty of warning too about like, TikTok going down, because in Canada, technically we shouldn't have it, but we still do, because I don't remember when it was. I just figured this out when I was looking up stuff about the US, and I was like, oh, we technically like banned TikTok, I think like mid last year, but the government just didn't actually push anything through. It seems so Canadian somehow.
Yeah. How we technically have it in the US here is that if you already have TikTok on your phone, you can access it. But if you try to download it onto your thing from the App Store, it's still gone. And you cannot access like CapCut. I think some people can, some people can't. Lemonade is like same kind of thing, and they're all owned by ByteDance. So for us, we can't download it, but if you already have it, you can use it. But there's only an extension to not enforce the ban for like 75 days. That puts us at like March, April, I think April actually it puts us at. But the UK is now also moving to ban it in end of February, I think like February 20 something. It's also going to get banned over there. And so at that point, there's so much of the English speaking major book purchasing areas, if you have Canada, US, and UK that can't access it, the EU will follow shortly behind what UK is going to end up doing with it. And that basically means that what's the point of even having access to the app? Because then you can't advertise to the vast majority of your potential readers, or at the very least, readers who could easily afford to get your book because of the way that publishing works and shipping works. It's easier to reach those countries than other countries. And so someone might love it who still has access to it in like Sweden, but like if it's going to cost them an arm and a leg to ship it, they're probably not going to get a physical copy. They might just go in an ebook, but you're not going to be able to advertise to them anyways.
Yeah, and especially like for smaller publishers like Stygian, it's so hard for us to ship outside of North America, even like outside of Canada, because Canada has, I think we probably have the highest shipping rates like in the world. It's terrible, to the point where I've had to say like I have had to put a limit on our shipping on our website because I don't even want people to see how much it would be. That's how it is, because I've had people from like England before want to buy stuff from my websites, and I'm like, all right, so if you want tracked shipping, that's going to be $55, and then they get mad at me, and I'm like, this isn't me. Like, I'm not upcharging to try and get more. I'm probably undercharging, and it's ridiculous. So a lot of our systems in the world are ridiculous right now, I think, and it's a bit of a struggle writing within that and publishing within that.
Yeah, I know, especially because I was, I'm trying to do this new thing in 2025 to help me get to the point where I can, properly finish writing and everything, where I do a break the chain of either working on my book for 2 hours a day minimum, or I write at least over 1,000 words a day. And the days that I've very badly fallen on that has definitely been on more, let's say, politically charged days when depression has hit hard. Or it has been literally leading up to the TikTok ban when I felt like, oh my God, it's going away. Like I have to consume as much of it as possible, or I have to like go and save all my videos. And literally I spent so much time, and I would not even try to, but I would end up having like the attention span of a gnat. And then I would just always end up on TikTok. And then I'd be like, where the hell did the last hour go? And sometimes I'll literally be like working my day job at my computer and then have my phone like here on next to the keyboard, and I'll just like mindlessly like swipe in between typing to like keep listening to stuff like it's fucking YouTube or something.
Oh my gosh.
And then all of a sudden, if something really grabs me, then I'll be like, oh, what's this? 15 minutes later, fuck, I was working. Like, it's not so bad now that I know I have more time on it, and now that I know like I've saved every like one of my videos, and I've saved all my drafts, and I followed everybody who I really want to follow on other social media for the most part. But the idea of it going away and then like actually happening didn't hit until like the last minute for me, because I was so certain that it was not going to. And then that Sunday that I was actually fully gone here, you could not access it. I was like, kept opening it on instinct and it wasn't there. And I was like, well, fuck shit, fuck. And it happened actually the night before when I was celebrating my anniversary. In the middle of my anniversary dinner, Jay texts me and goes, TikTok's gone. I thought we had it till midnight. And I was like, what? No. I thought I was gonna get to lay in bed and mindlessly scroll for a while before bed like usual.
Oh, well, for me, I keep saying, oh, I'm going to do more TikTok. I'm going to do more TikTok because I know it's been so amazing for the book community. And I still haven't gotten into it because, as a planner, I am very good at scheduling stuff and doing like filming and shorts in advance. That's what I can do. I do not like just think of something funny and I don't even actually consume that much content. Like I never doom scroll on any app that I'm on. So like the idea of having to do that has been very daunting to me, because I know that the way TikTok works is this sort of like fun in the moment thing of like knowing the trends and knowing what other people are doing. And I've just been holding off. And part of me, it's funny because I see all of my friends being like, I'm losing my community. I'm like, this is horrible. This is a terrible thing. But at the same time, there's this part of me that's going, oh, I don't have to learn it. Thank you.
Well, I wouldn't even necessarily say that, because there are alternatives that are already popping up. Like a bunch of people moved over to Red Note, and then Neptune is supposed to come out next month, and I'm actually really excited for that because it's kind of like old school Facebook meets TikTok. So I'm hoping Neptune ends up being like a good alternative to that, and they definitely seem more not willing to suppress, at least right now, topics and things like spice from your books and stuff like that. So it'd be nice to not have to like censor every fucking thing you're saying on that app like you have to do on TikTok and Red Note. But we'll see if it actually like pops up and then actually is as good as what some people are claiming it will be, because we don't really know the legitimacy of the people running that app yet.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I'm curious about new platforms, but it is always like when you have so many going, it's so hard to keep track of them all. And I'm constantly torn between being active on all of them and just like shutting everything down. That's so stressful. But I did join Blue Sky because I had a couple friends say that the community for writers there has been really, really good. I was holding off just because, again, I don't want more platforms, but I have a friend who's a writer and also a musician, and she's like, no, it's amazing because everyone's actually talking and people are following each other back. And so, I mean, in all the chaos and the loss, I think that there are some, new interesting things coming up that maybe there wouldn't have been space for otherwise. So that's intriguing and could be positive.
Following you on Blue Sky.
I think
you had just followed me and I hadn't seen it because I'm very bad with also using apps.
And I asked my friend if there was scheduling, and she's like, not yet. And that was my thing with Threads when I tried to join Threads. And I was like, I can't schedule. I can't be here. I need scheduling, and I'm not going to pay for like an outside app to do it. So I just want to do it in app.
Yeah, I mean, I find that Threads does remind me of like early author Twitter, which I do enjoy. But yeah, I still think part of it is I literally have it like built into my routine to just like open Twitter. And so I put myself on like a 5-minute limit a day on Twitter because I just need to go on there and see my notifications to see if like anyone DM'd me, because I still have friends on there who I only DM with them on there because it's just a habit. And there are some like artists on there that I do enjoy seeing their stuff from, and mostly like fandom related things, but it's also just been so overtaken by, let's try not to get the podcast censored, by Yahtzees, the game.
Politics. Overtaken by politics.
But yeah, so it's not the place it used to be at all, and it's really sad, but I still open it because it's almost like, I'm used to being able to go there for community. So when I'm looking for community, I open it and then I go, oh wait, no, they're not here anymore. And then I have to like go try to find them on Threads or Blue Sky and things like that. And all of a sudden I've gone through 3 apps and it's like an hour fucking later. And I'm like, oh yeah, I was supposed to be a productive human being today. This sucks. I think to this day, I still end up opening up Facebook, even though I don't use my Facebook whatsoever, but I've had it for such a long time that it's just like gut reaction instinct to open it and check it in the morning, especially when I get a notification icon. But the icon for my notifications is always like, someone posted a post in a Facebook group you haven't checked in 10 years. Perfect.
Well, and that is the thing that I think a lot of people, especially, writers who are building their platforms, are going to have to deal with, is that like there is going to be a lot of scattering. People are going to be very scattered, and you're going to have to figure out how to consolidate and manage that. And I don't know if I can provide any tips. I would say limit your inboxes, which is something I've been trying to do, but it is not easy. Like I've been trying to shut down my Instagram inbox.
I know, and I keep messaging you there because it's fucking instinct to do so, and I'm horrible.
Well, and that's the thing, and like there are a couple people, and I probably shouldn't say this because I don't want everyone, anyone thinking that they're not like special or something. There are a couple people who I do like try to keep messaging on there, and you're one of them. And it's like it's usually like if we actively have projects going or something like that. I have a few close friends who are so annoyed with the autoresponder that I have on, my bestie Jamie keeps reacting with a tomato every time it pops up. And I'm doing this thing where I'm like, I feel terrible because I'm actively ignoring, because I'll see that pop up and I'll see my message. And I even include it in my auto response. Like, if this is a group chat and, you're talking and you keep getting my auto response, just remove me from the chat. And they refuse to. And I think it's because they think I'm going to come back. And it's like, no, I need to do this for myself. I need to limit my inboxes. And the reason I chose Facebook over Instagram is because that's where my parents are. And that's why I'm even still on Facebook in any major way, because they will not get used to anything else. So I'm like, most of my friends are on Facebook. My parents are there. That's going to be my inbox, as well as email and Discord. And that's it. So I've been like not responding to anyone on other platforms as much as I can and trying to set up autoresponders, but people will not let you. They will not.
Okay. So should I just message you on Facebook? Because I still do use Messenger. I can do that and make your life easier.
If that's easy for you, that would be appreciated.
Yes. I was literally wanting to talk to you about this. I love how we're just making it part of the podcast, though. I know. Will DM you on Facebook.
Well, I think this is also a good point to sort of talk about what we're going to be doing on the podcast a little bit, and then we'll get back into publishing more and some more nitty-gritty stuff on what we're doing. But we do have a new sort of format that we're going to be doing with the podcast, which includes more just talking like this, not with a specific solid advice topic, and it's going to be a bit more timely too. So anyone who's been like listening to or watching us for a while will mention things like NaNoWriMo, and then it will be like a month past or something like that, and the timing's off. So we're going to do this more like a on time podcast that brings up topical, current issues, which I think is going to be exciting. And you're going to get a lot more babbling and some personal stuff too, I think, that way.
Yeah, and we're still going to be giving advice and stuff like that, but I think just making it a little bit more timely to things that you guys might be going through right now, as we're actively also going through them, and we kind of figure it out together, is going to be a little bit more of a collaborative experience. So we're excited to be doing that. We're also excited that this is going to be the third season. We're going to kind of make our seasons fit into the years, so one season for every year. And I know that means that season 2 was only like 5 episodes long. Listen, I was very busy. We're not going to talk about it. But yeah, that's fine. But season 3 is here, ready. We have some backlogged content that we're going to be throwing in as well. So you guys will see stuff from last year as well. So if my hair changes drastically from episode to episode for a couple months, that would be why. But we're very excited to just keep this podcast going for you guys and just make this a little bit more of like a community space. So if some things change occasionally, that would be why, but we're excited to bring stuff to you, excited to make things a little bit more timely, and excited for a couple of projects and things more related to this podcast, with the Order of the Written Word, with Stygian Society, with our own publishing projects, and all of those things that are going to be coming to you this year as well.
Yeah, I think that's we both sort of realized that our power as creators and educators, if you want to call it that, in the community is that more in the moment stuff rather than all this pre-planned. As much as I love pre-planning and scheduling, if we're in the moment, if we're helping each other actively as things are happening in the world, that's going to be a lot more useful. And I would like for what we're doing to be more useful to everyone who's listening, more useful, inspirational, all of that stuff. And yeah, I think it's going to be a big year. We have some interesting stuff coming up, some fun things.
Yes, definitely. I'm going to just put it out there. August is going to be a really big month. We got some news about certain things during that time, so look out for that. And then I would say as well, going into more of what used to be the classic NaNoWriMo season with the Order, we do have some fun things for this year planned too, and we want to build that community up as well. That's basically Stygian Society's version of NaNoWriMo, but with a secret society theme, and so we have more fun things planned to keep that going this year as well. So definitely it looks like Q3, Q4 for this year is going to have a lot of different fun things that we want to share with you guys as soon as we have some confirmation on some dates for you. So make sure to keep sticking around for that, and we'll be talking about it definitely more timely and making the proper announcements during the proper times, because we'll be making these podcast episodes more timely for those specific announcements.
Yeah, exactly. And if you are following Stygian, we're going to be doing some announcements and stuff about the next event within the Order. Because just to sort of speak to what it is a little bit, it's AI-free writing challenge. That's sort of the main thing, which we thought was, it's a direct response to NaNoWriMo. But we're trying to bring in other things like not just challenging based on word count, but we're going to be doing events in March and July that are called conclaves, and they are based on time spent writing versus word count. So we actually have that coming up really soon, and I'm going to be prepping for that a bit through February, and then we're going to be writing in March. So you'll be able to be a part of that very soon and not have to wait till November, which I think will be really cool. And yeah, we have a good amount of stuff speckled throughout, and then also our books that are coming out that we're kind of in the thick of right now.
Yes, definitely. And I think too, one of those things that I personally implemented was doing sort of a break the chain for the year. At least I'm trying to. I've broken it already a little bit, but but basically trying to write at least a minimum of over 1K words a day, and then if not that, then I'm working on my book for a minimum of 2 hours a day. Which, on certain days when I'm working on edits and then I'm also writing fresh material, it can kind of be a half and half kind of scenario. But that's sort of where I am at, because I am desperately trying to publish this year. I stated it, I've said it, I have things already prepped, written, just need some editing. I have been working with a cover artist, which I'm really excited about, and I got a recent sketch back for a cover for something.
It's very good from what I saw.
Oh, yes, thank you. But I love working with small artists and things like that. So I am working with some smaller editors. I'm working with just some really, really great people and doing some things that are DIY and learning my lessons. I'm currently doing Pub and Thrive, which probably by the time this episode comes out, Pub and Thrive will be having enrollment and things like that. Sometimes I have an affiliate link, sometimes I don't for that one, but that's the Sarah Cannon course all about self-publishing. So if that's still open, I'll leave it linked down below. If not, you can always look it up and then you can purchase it when the class opens up again. But yeah, I am, come hell or high water, I am getting a book out there this year, whether TikTok is around or not. And also I'm kind of putting in and building in sort of safety rails, I would say, to my book, because it does feature a lot of spice, which in our current climate here in the US might get banned. So I'm also going to probably be working on a version of the book eventually that does not have spice. It's not my priority first thing, but if it does end up going down the path where these things could get banned, I would probably make a spice-free version of the book, and then allow the spice to be hidden on my website. And for people who want it, they can go there to go and get it, so that my book doesn't become ineligible to be purchased. Because after spending a lot of money, time, and effort, I need it to be out there. So that's sort of what my plans are just in general looking like right now.
I think that's a good thing to touch on, is owned marketing, which also, owned in general. I think that we've all sort of learned a lesson of how quickly things can disappear, how our platforms can vanish. And the more places we have that are owned, and this is sort of where I have push and pull, because I think that social media is really useful. And I'm always telling people, you use it, you have to be on it as an author. But I personally am putting more effort into things like my website right now and my email list, because that's, if you haven't heard the term before, that is called owned marketing, which is something that you control that can't be taken away. Obviously, the whole internet could implode and then it's gone, which is also why I'm trying to focus on establishing things in the real world too, not to in any paranoid way, but just enjoying more things just in the physical realm that can't be taken away from me. But in terms of marketing and book marketing, I think that it's really, really important to be having your website running and have it be a strong space with a big mailing list. So as you're building out your socials and as you're trying to bring your community together, find where it's been scattered to the winds, getting everyone together on your email list is going to be a really, really good thing to do as an author moving into 2025, I think. And yeah, so I'm trying to do that with my personal stuff right now. I am working on my, been working on for 2 decades fantasy novel. I've got my physical edition that I'm working on editing here, but it's been so many months that I hadn't worked on it. I had solidified some semi-final chapters and I thought I had done all of them. Then I found out I hadn't. So starting tomorrow, actually, I'm going to be diving back into it, getting a stronger footing on it. And I'm starting doing sprints on Discord and YouTube in February. So I'm going to be writing at least once a week in that and getting it more solidified, because it is coming out on Ream. I think there are 2 chapters now that I'm okay with, that are finalized. So if anyone wants to read this book on Reem, it is on there. I've been making some free. I think I might do the first 5 or 10 chapters free and go from there. But because of this mystery thing that is happening in August, I might be trying to expedite my processes a bit more and find more beta readers in different locations. So that's where I'm at right now with my actual writing.
Yeah. So August, before August, there's gonna be some things out from us. That's what I'll say.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, that's all I'll say. But yeah, going back to a point you touched on just for like a second there too, physical media, I think it's going to have a huge resurgence because as we've kind of seen is that anything can get taken off the internet, and the internet, you know, right now feels like a forever thing, but it may not fully be in its current iterations. We've also seen like the new TikTok algorithm is completely different than what it was before our shutdown here in the US. And so it's like, it's not under your control. Even if you have your own website and your own newsletter, there's certain things that like a file could get corrupted or someone could put a cease and desist on your website and take it down. Like there's different things that
your host digital, could shut down.
Yeah. Different things that could allow for your digital footprint to basically get scrubbed or to get deleted, or it has to go down, or the social media platform ends up dying. And so physical media is going to just become I think a huge resurgence of things. Like I've seen a huge trend of people recently buying like more CDs, more records.
Well, I buy vinyl.
Yeah, vinyls, CDs, records, physical books, and things like that. So I think too, if you're an author looking to publish this year, I would not bank on only like KU, only like, you know, only ebook kind of format things, or banking on those types of things. I would lean heavily into physical copies of media, especially special editions and things like that, because more people are going to want those versions of books, especially if, for example, you write spicy books, or you write things with queer characters, or you write things that certain people are not going to want out there, especially if you're in the US. It's going to be harder and harder and harder for those things to be shown to people, harder and harder to be able to get access to those things. They're more easily able to be banned if there are only digital copies of them available. And so there's going to be a huge resurgence of people who want the physical versions of books, and they're going to want those on their shelves, especially if they're pretty special editions and different things like that. And we saw a huge resurgence of it even just with TikTok, because people were wanting special editions that were signed specifically by the authors, or even just regular editions that were signed by the authors with little stickers and swag. And then that actually puts more money into authors' pockets, because they're not having to split it directly with Amazon or with Barnes & Noble. They're just literally giving you something like a little bit extra to say thanks for buying directly from them. And you can go and directly buy from people's websites as well and get signed copies with stickers and bookmarks and cute little wrapping done to it and everything. And it gets them more money, and then also ensures that you have a physical copy of the media that then can't be taken from you. Because as we've seen, if you buy a physical, like a digital copy of something, you're technically almost always buying the license for that thing, and it can be taken from you at any point in time. You don't actually physically own it unless you own a physical, actual hard copy of something. And I think a lot of people are realizing that and getting pissed. And unless something like legislatively in the US here actually changes that, and probably abroad in general, you're only going to be spending money to license something and not physically own it for a long time.
Yeah. An interesting thing that I saw actually is there's this marketing education group that I attend a lot of their seminars called Guru, and they have been doing seminars on direct mail. So that is interesting. I hadn't thought of that pretty much ever. And to think that that's coming back, like actually people sending letters. As someone who's very much into like classic sensibilities, I love that. I love the idea of that. I have some friends who have asked to start, handwriting letters to each other. And as writers, I think that tangible thing is a really nice thing for us. So as we might be kind of stressed out and feeling chaotic about the internet, I think 2025 is a really good year to reevaluate and maybe unplug a little bit when you can. And yeah, I don't know, write a letter to a friend and build your local community. This is another huge thing that I've been doing. There's a local store called Phoenix here in Montreal, and it's so strange because I've lived a 10-minute walk away from it for a few years now. And there's another store there that's like a block away. So the same street. And there's like one that comes first and one that's a block further. And I'd actually never been to Phoenix until this year, because I would sort of stop at that first one. And I had a little bit of a relationship going with them for books. And then I was like, okay, I have to get to Phoenix. I'm a local publisher. I've got to go. I got to go say hi to them and get our books in there and stuff. And I went in, and, you know, they're run by the most amazing people. And we've immediately built this huge friendship. 3 of them are coming on as like an advisory board for Stygian, which is cool because we've mostly been online, and now to have these, you know, physical connections in the city helping each other out. And there's yet another thing I can't really talk about yet. It's not like a huge thing, but we're going to be collaborating in kind of a unique way. I guess it's a bit guerrilla marketing, which is another thing that people are going to be doing more of. Just physical things like, you know, leaving bookmarks around flyers, you know, even like chalk graffiti and stuff like that. I think that the creative world is going to burst out of the screen a lot more and into our physical realm, which for creative people, that's a fun thing. It gives you so much more to work with, and a lot more opportunities.
Yeah, definitely. What's one of the things that I'm working on this year as well. I talk about this a little bit more in a video that I just filmed the other day, that I'm going to have up on my Patreon for free if you guys want to check that out. But I was talking about sort of my goals for the year in general and diving into them a lot more. Sorry if you can hear my cat screaming in the background.
I've got one banging on a door behind me.
Love that for us. But in my local communities, I discovered a while ago, and I've been putting it off. And I'm like, no, it's time for me to, you know, step out of my home. I've definitely sort of, since August, now that I'm working basically almost entirely remote, I've become a little bit of like a hermit, you know, in here. And I want to branch out and use the time that I've been allotted because of not having to do a huge commute anymore to be able to connect more locally in my community. And one of the things that they have is these really cool things where you can be an instructor without having to go and have like a teaching degree. And I always wanted to be a teacher, but couldn't justify going to school to become a teacher for how little we get paid here.
Yeah, here too. Yeah.
Yeah. But I found out my local communities do have like instructor programs where you can put in and you can submit sort of your course idea, your materials, and then you can go and charge students directly. And usually it's like teenagers who need like an after school kind of program, and their parents will go and pay for them to learn like something they're interested in. And sometimes it'll be like, you know, older people who are looking for, you know, like enrichment for seniors, or it's, you know, different things like college students who are looking at stuff, or people who are looking into the actual career path that they want to go and do. They'll have coding or they'll have dancing and different things like that. And so I've wanted to do creative writing, and I haven't seen anyone else try to take that up in my local communities, but I know a lot of people want to be writers. Like, I forgot what the stat is, but so many people in the US want to be writers and then never ever actually end up trying to do it. And so that's something that I want to work with in my local community. It'd be a little bit extra money for me. And then 2, gets me out of the house, gets me writing a little bit more. And then I think it'd be a cool experience as well to be able to sort of share my experience doing that in a local community setting and sharing what I know. To a wider audience online afterwards, if like I film it and stuff like that. I think that'd be really cool. Because one of the people that I like listening to, that I need to definitely listen to more, is like Brandon Sanderson when he has his classes like he did in college when he talks about stuff. But obviously he makes sure that it's not behind a paywall for everybody later on. And so that is something that I might eventually do, is like record all of them and then put the whole thing online in a similar kind of fashion. But again, without going into debt to just be able to be a teacher who gets paid next to nothing. But if I get it, cat's sneezing now. But if I get accepted into that, that'll be something really fun that I want to do this year as well, and kind of just touch grass.
I love that. Like, I think a lot of us who have been living online, especially, I mean, for me, I started working from home like right in 2020, and it's been that way. So learning how to sort of enter into society a little bit is a valuable skill for sure. And I mean, as writers, you can always learn from those experiences in so many different ways too, right? Like, you can make your writing better, you can meet new people who, like, the experience itself make it better, the new people make it better, et cetera, et cetera. And even if it's kind of scary to, you know, leave that hobbit hole, it's probably a good thing in the long run.
Yeah, definitely. Because just, you know, you can't create good art in a vacuum, and unfortunately with, you know, our little cell phones over here, they like to keep us very much so in sort of our bubble and inside of this world of don't touch grass, don't go out of your comfort zone, don't do this and this, and it can inspire us to do certain things, but usually they're solo things, or they're things to do with people you already know, versus actually going outside and meeting people outside of your circle, and then getting sort of that collaboration, that inspiration from people who don't already know about your work in progress, who don't already know who you are as a person, and then being able to learn from those experiences, I think is really beneficial. But unfortunately, if we go, okay, commute to a job for 2 hours in the morning, work an 8-hour shift, commute for another 2 hours at night, get home, eat dinner, scroll mindlessly on TikTok, go to sleep, that's not like really an enriching existence, unfortunately. But being able to go and just find ways to squeeze in that sort of human interaction and collaboration and to spark that creativity, especially in like the physical real world, is, I think that's going to have a huge break. And I think I think all of us experience that sort of hermit mode level energy since lockdown, and we've sort of stayed in that loop a little bit more, and I think that people are getting fed up with it, and they're either going to revert back and literally do like their own version of just a lockdown where they just don't do anything, or they're going to burst out and want to have more connection with other people. Of course, right now, at least in the US, when we have the bird flu, you have to be careful about reaching out and interacting with other people on a large scale right now at the same time, but we're going to see people pull in one direction or the other, and I think artists are going to want to safely connect with each other in person.
Yeah, there is a drive for that. I think there's just been a lot of what's the right word for it? Just people splitting off in a whole bunch of different places, and we kind of want to form something again. You and I have talked about this a lot about community, and I mean, I did a seminar like last summer about community in the writing world, and I think a lot of us talk about it quite a bit, and it can be hard to make tangible steps with that. So I do try to share anytime I am doing something like that. And I think that that's awesome that you're going to be sharing this teaching experience and stuff like that, if you're able to start doing that, because it just gives ideas to other people of how you can get out into the community, because some things are going to be more comfortable than others. And I think that what I've been learning in Montreal is that the indie bookstores here really do so much, and that's a great starting point for anyone who has bookstores around them that aren't like big box stores. And I know in some places there is a major lack of bookstores. I learned this when I was traveling through the States, and I was shocked when I would be like in a city and there were no bookstores. I was like, wait, what? But if you have indie bookstores around you, look up their Facebook page or Instagram or whatever, and you'll probably see that they're doing events all the time. And you can just sort of walk by, and you can even go and look at a bookshelf and just watch the event from a distance and see if you want to join, and then go in and try it. But they're an amazing resource, and those stores should be supported. Local stores, also local community spaces. We need to get out and support them and help them stay alive, because they can really be a lifeline for people.
Libraries especially.
Yes, libraries too.
Yeah. And I think too, just, you know, that's a great way to meet people, to get out of your shell, to form local community, because I think definitely, you know, I love the community online, but at the same time, it's very much so like you need people where you are, wherever you are. And it's definitely hard for our generation, I feel like, to figure out where are those places, how do you meet those people? And then at the same time, it's like we have no third spaces. We have no place where you can go and meet people without it being just alcohol, or just like for the purpose of like dating and different things like that. You don't have places where you can go and just literally make friends. And that's going to be, I think, a huge move forward for people in these generations, is they're going to want that again. And I think they already do want that again, but it just takes a couple people deciding that, hey, I'm going to go start that in my local community, for it to spark a movement that then can go across the globe for people to be able to find each other outside of the digital space. We might tell each other digitally about it to find each other first, but then we'll go and meet up at the place.
I've been trying to do that. I want to do that with the order more as our Discord grows, because right now we have a Montreal space that I've started because we brought people over from, like I used to be an ML here. So we brought local NaNoWriMo people over from the Montreal Facebook group onto Discord. So we have that. But I would love to start making little, rooms within the server that are for a ton of different cities, so that maybe people can be running their own in-person meetups. Because, you know, if you don't already have something built in that someone else is running, you could always be the first person to start it. So if you're in our Discord server and you're looking for a local community, maybe like let me know, and you could have your own little room, and we'll see if other people from your city come in and they could be added to it.
Yes, I definitely want to start one. Oh, bless you, kitty. I definitely want to start one in the Discord for the general area where I live, and see if there's anybody else who's down for it. But I'm probably do that a little bit closer to when we have all the challenges popping off.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and there's a lot we want to work on, and we're gonna have to figure that out for what's going to happen this year. There's so much going on. It's really exciting. It's overwhelming, but it's exciting. And I think this is going to be a good one. I feel like 2024 was a year that was a buildup to a lot of stuff changing and happening. And 25 is the year where it's going to happen. And that's kind of what my tarot reading for the year said too.
Mine did too.
If anyone wants to see me talk for like 40 minutes about my tarot for the year, it is on my YouTube channel. I shared it all.
Yeah, both my tarot and my astrology were saying, like, if it seems too good to be true, it's actually a good thing, just do it. And I was like, okay, bet. and that's literally what my exact gut reaction when it came to the thing that's happening in August was me looking at the thing and being like, it's gotta be a scam. Like, this can't be real. Like, blah, 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 blah. Like, they must have just, you know, done something wrong. And then realized, oh, wait, this is probably one of those things that my tarot and astrology was talking about. Let me just not self-sabotage real quick.
And then me, like, literally having dreams related to it right before you messaged me.
Yeah. Oh my God. I don't know if you've had this experience. This is totally like, we're branching more into, you know, our woo-woo section, I guess, of the podcast episode. But the dreams that I have had, I don't know if you've been having dreams, but you have a dream of something and then it's happening like right fucking afterwards, or you're getting like just the premonitions that I've heard people getting, especially in their dreams recently, has been nuts. And for me and myself, some of these things have happened, some of them have not. I'm hoping some of them don't, some of them do. But yeah, I feel like the gut instinct and intuition of so many people is like an all-time high the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, I haven't had, like, that was what I just told you about regarding August was like the most clear, you know, here's a connection that's directly happening. But I have had really vivid dreams. Like, my dreams have been very vivid and very, very real, like sort of just extensions of my day kind of thing, that kind of stuff. I'm not having like very weird or cryptic dreams. And whenever I wake up from one, I'm like, oh, I feel like I've just been pulled out of something really deep. I've been feeling that this year for sure.
Yeah. You know how they say that you don't have phones and you can't see clocks in your dreams?
Yeah.
I had a dream where I had my phone and I could see the time on my phone and it was like 12:12. And I was like, interesting. And I was specifically opening up my like camera on my phone to take a picture of someone. I'm not going to go into the full dream, but specifically I was told in that dream that someone wasn't telling me everything. And I did confront that person last night and they had no clue what I was talking about. But then I saw like a little something in their eye. I'm like, I'm going to get it out of you. I know there's something here. And I've had quite a few others that I feel like if I talk about them, I'm going to sound absolutely fucking insane. But they've been vivid, and me and my sibling Jay have had the same ones about the same thing.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, I hate that because it's not a good thing happening. And so I'm like scared, frightened. And even Steven, my husband, had a dream the other day that was another thing I don't want to happen, but he was like, literally, I was awake still reading on my phone because I had like a drink, and I came back from the bathroom and he fell asleep while I was in there, and then I came out and I had a drink still, so I was trying to like read and finish my drink and everything, and so he was like sleeping next to me and he was just like straight up talking. He was like ba 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 ba, and ba 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 ba, and I was like, can't understand any of the words, but I know something's going on. It's okay. Go to sleep. He's still talking. I'm like, trying to wake him up. Still talking. Not here, though. And then he woke up in the morning and he was like, I had really bad dreams. I'm like, yeah, I could tell.
Yeah.
And he usually doesn't have like that, you know, like if he does any mumbling, it's just like, you know, like very rarely. But this was like the whole conversation telling someone how it was. And I was like, well, Dreams are just wild and recently.
Yeah, there's something about 2025. Something going on.
It's the age of Aquarius.
Yeah. Oh, yes, I have
Everybody's an Aquarius.
that. Yourself say fully nervously.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm an Aquarius rising, so like supposedly this is like my time to shine, but then at the same time, it's also like the time of like big reveals and like things are gonna, you know, shake up before they settle down and calm down. And we have like several big astrologically related scary moments. I think we have like a dark Aquarius moon.
Dark Aquarius.
And I literally wrote them down and I highlighted them because I was like, this is some shit here. Let me see.
I have.
And we have many eclipses. Oh my god.
Because if anyone, well, for anyone who's listening, I'm showing that my planner is the Witch's Date Book. I get this from my mom every year. So I'm wondering if it's in here. What day is it?
Okay, the dark Aquarius moon is January 29th, so it's coming up. We also have a dark Pisces moon. Let me see.
Mine is like mine on the 29th is so wholesome. It's just like new moon, color, white. That doesn't sound very dark.
Yeah. Well, we have tons of eclipses, so here's some of them. March 13th, we have a total lunar eclipse in Virgo on my south node, so that's fun. And then we have, a partial solar eclipse in March 29th, which is a dark Aries moon.
Oh yeah, and the lunar eclipse on so mine says the 14th, and that's also the storm moon, full moon, lunar eclipse, storm moon. And Mercury retrograde starts the next day.
Of course it does. I'm going to be going through a rough time in March. It's a Virgo, always. And this dark Aries moon is Aries on my north node. So that they literally were like, in my astrology reading, they were like, you're going to be going through it. And that is, again, March 29th, also around the time of Mercury retrograde. So I was like, that's fucking fun. Yay. And then we have, let's see, there's quite a few in here. A total lunar eclipse, September 7th. And then September 21st, we have something called a black Virgo moon. Going through it then too, why not?
Jenna's going dark in September.
Then 21st as well, we have the partial solar eclipse, which is Virgo on my south node, as well. So I have two eclipses, a lunar and a solar, both on my Virgo south node this year. And then there's a full blood moon, October 7th, perfect for the season. And we get 2 meteor showers back to back. And then we get, let's see, is that it? Please let that be it. Oh, then we end the year on a meteor shower after the winter solstice. So that's
all right. Now I need to write notes about my reading into my actual like planner, because I'm trying to remember what I did a like month by month reading, and the basic vibe of it was kind of like building stuff up right now to a crescendo of what seems like success, and then something kind of bad happens right after that. So like something bad slams in right after the success, and then that lasts for like 1 or 2 months, and then it's chill at the end of the year. I need to go back and write down which month with each one.
Yeah, I have a feeling it's going to be major success August because of things happening, and then boom, something in September.
I think that's kind of what it was. Yeah, it was like a stressful fall pretty much. I'm like, oh, great. And that's when I'm going to have the most stuff going on, because my mega busy time is like October through December. Yay.
Of course. We can't have things easy.
Yeah, so I think that we've gone through how we're feeling at the beginning of this year in like every way possible.
Yeah, I would love to go back to this video end of next year and kind of just like reflect on if all of this stuff was accurate for us. And if things actually happened or not, or if we missed our deadlines, and then cry about it later.
Oh my god. No. Hell or high water, Jenna. It's not happening. We're not missing. All All right.
Well, let's try to end it on a better note, though, before we stop it. Hold on.
But there's positive stuff. Remember, like there's some bad stuff, but there's like big positive. So there's big positive this year too.
Yes. We'll just figure out the muddy waters of the TikTok ban. We will figure out, betas and editing and covers and stuff for publishing.
We will build our offline communities.
Yes. Touch grass, the beautiful, beautiful grass. We love the outdoors.
No, here right now.
Yeah, I was gonna say actually it's just mud here because we finally got some rain.
Don't touch any fire.
Well, thankfully it's raining, so that should help with the fires.
Yes,
that's what we're hoping for here in California. So, yeah, there's good things, there's scary things, and all of those different wild stuff that's happening. However, I think at the same time we're building communities online, and we're building communities here with this podcast. We're building communities in person, and all of that is lending itself to a bit of sense of stability and being able to lean on each other and being able to ask for advice when we hit road bumps and things like that. That'll hopefully pull us out of our own dark nights of the souls whenever they do come up this year, whether or not it's because of Mercury retrogrades or astrological or zodiac or tarot reading related issues that we've been forewarned about. We'll be able to lean on each other to be able to bounce back from those things a little bit quicker than if we did it all by ourselves and alone.
Exactly. And as introverted as one can be, that is the whole point of community, because you are going to need someone at some point, and it better be another writer, because that's going to help you the most.
100%, because if you have no writers in your life who you can lean on, you're going to basically just always be stuck there like, well, this sucks, and I have no one to talk to about the fact that it sucks or ask them what to do. Even just forming sort of like one of those random relationships online with another author who doesn't know you even exist, but then they talk about their struggle can be a help. That's what I did in high school before I had any writer friends.
Exactly. Listen to the podcast, watch the podcast, join the Discord community, even if you just lurk, and you'll get something out of it.
Yes. I'm the lurker.
You're not allowed to lurk anymore this year.
I know. I do. I'm starting to like Discord way more.
Yeah.
Never thought that would happen for me.
It took me a while to adjust, but I've been learning it, and I do like it quite a bit.
Well, do check out the links down below if you're interested in like Sarah Cannon's class, if that is still up. Also about the order of the written word and its Discord server down there. And then eventually we will put down links for, our books will be down there, and we're working towards that. And I hope you are too, so that you can get your books either in the query trenches or onto bookshelves near you.
Yes. And welcome to season 3.
Yes. It's going to be a year of so much.
Things, lots of things, all the things.
Yes, both exciting, terrifying, thrilling, and I mean, honestly, we wouldn't have it any other way, because if we're going to have terrifying shit happen anyways, we might as well look forward to some things that we are marching towards in our goals and on our journey, and then be able to share them with you guys as well.
Exactly, and I would much rather have an interesting life than a calm one, even though that is a curse in some proverbs, so I'll take it.
I live by that.
All right. Thank you so much for watching and listening.
Yep. Remember to subscribe to us on YouTube, follow us on the Spotify and all those things to watch our episodes that are going to be coming out either weekly or bi-weekly throughout the rest of the year as we catch up on some of our older episodes, when you'll see my hair change vastly different shades of blonde and purple.
Mine will be different shapes.
Yeah. But we'll see you guys in the next episode. So thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you guys then.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.